Oh, welcome to another episode of the JCMoseley FC Podcast. I'm Elliot, and here with Christian as always. Christian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Elliot. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We've been away for a few weeks. You've been traveling, and I've had stuff going on with my job, so we're a little bit later than normal to get to this next episode. But the positive of that is there's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things to talk about for sure. So we're excited to go right into it.
Yeah, should we jump right in then, and we'll talk about. Obviously, we're going to cover the kind of the usual stuff, but as we're recording, we just kind of recently came off of the international break, and there was a lot of updates and teams that confirmed their qualification for the World Cup. So we'll start with the World Cup qualifying, and let's start with your home continent, with Africa, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. The World Cup qualifying in Africa have been very interesting to say the least. So yeah, a lot of great countries are qualified. A lot of countries also are going to the playoffs. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to talk about that. So we're gonna start with Group A of the group, Elliot. Um, Group A of the CAF qualifiers have been very interesting. We had Morocco. Sorry, I apologize for the group for that group is. So we have Egypt, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Ethiopia, and Djibouti. So Egypt obviously qualified very comfortably without any issues. They won 8 games, drew 2. They didn't lose a single game with 26 points. Very comfortable. And then Burkina Faso ended up second, unfortunately for them. They were not among the best to qualify. So Egypt is going to be at the World Cup. We're going to see Mo Salah at the World Cup, which is really cool. Group B for the group, Senegal, DR Congo, Sudan, Togo, Mauritania, and South Sudan. So we have Senegal that finished first of the group, and DR Congo finished second. So that was a very close group, actually. So it was until there were 2 games left. That's when Senegal was able to be back in front of DR Congo. So it was very close. And Senegal obviously made it through. And then we have Group C that was very interesting because Nigeria was in the mud for the longest time in this group. They were like 4th. They had no chance of qualifying. They rebounded after just 4 games. So South Africa finished first in that group, and then followed by Nigeria. And then so Nigeria is going to the playoffs of that group. So South Africa is qualified. And then we have Cape Verde that surprised everyone. They finished first of the group. Cameroon finished second, and then followed by Libya, Angola, Mauritius, and Eswatini. Apologies for the mispronunciation. So obviously Cape Verde, very small island on the west coast. I can bet that 99% of people in the world have never heard of that country. A very tiny place on the west coast of Africa. They're not even drawn on the map. You know, when you draw Africa, it's like you don't redraw the islands. So they're part of Africa. And if they finish top of the group in front of Cameroon. So Cameroon is going to playoffs. Cape Verde is top of the group. So they qualified automatically. And Group E, it was very easy for Morocco. 8 wins. It was a group with only 5 teams. So Morocco finished, they've won all the games. Niger, Tanzania, Zambia, and Congo obviously are not going to go to the next World Cup. So Morocco was the winner of that group. And Group F for Ivory Coast, that qualified for the first time in 12 years. It was not easy because we had Gabon that finished second of that group. And then they were toe-to-toes, you know. The only reason why we're going is because we beat them at home. So it was very close. So Ivory Coast is going to the World Cup. And then Group G, there's 2 more groups left. Group G was Algeria, that finished top of the group ahead of Uganda. And finally, Group H, Tunisia. Apologies, there's actually 2 more groups. So Tunisia finished top of the group. So Tunisia is going to the World Cup. And then Ghana also top the group. They're going to the World Cup. So just to summarize everything. So we have Egypt, Senegal, South Africa, Cape Verde, Cape Verde, Morocco, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Tunisia, and Ghana that are going automatically to the World Cup. So there's 9 teams, and you can see those are big teams besides Cape Verde, but they deserve to be there. They beat Cameroon, fair play to them. But all the big African countries are going to the World Cup, which is great. And before I move on from this, I have to say that there's a playoffs. So we have 4 best placed teams. So we have DR Congo, we have Nigeria, Cameroon, and Gabon that are going to the playoffs. So now there'll only be one team that will represent Africa in the Intercontinental Cup. So Africa might be able to bring up to 10 teams, which is really cool, for the first time ever. 9 teams is already a blessing because you have the big teams there. And I have a feeling that African teams are going to do really great this year, I hope.
Yeah.
This
I think that's one of the, obviously there's, people have their opinions about the expanded tournament, but I think if you take the European perspective out of it, which tends to dominate in world football, I think it's great to have more spots for the other confederations, kind of more guaranteed spots, and it gives people a chance to, it gives these teams a chance to play at a World Cup. It gives their people and the country a chance to cheer on their team at a World Cup. I mean, it is just the biggest sporting event in the world. It just is.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great that there's going to be that many African teams, up to 10. Hopefully one of the other African teams that gets to the intercontinental playoffs will make it too. I'd love to see Africa represented really well. And I think, there's some strong teams in there. I think there's some that could go a long way in the tournament.
Absolutely.
Shall we take a quick look at Asia? That's the next one I have up on my list. We don't have to go through all the groups, but I'll just list off the teams that are already qualified. Actually, they had their qualifying is finished from a little while ago, actually. So Australia, Iran, Japan, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Uzbekistan are the 8 teams that qualified from Asia. They also have one spot for the intercontinental playoffs as well. That's United Arab Emirates will be playing against Iraq in their playoff to decide who gets to go to that one. Any thoughts about any of those teams?
Honestly, I mean, we're not surprised. Usually the big teams, we have South Korea, South Korea, Iran, and then Japan. Those are the 3 teams that are always going to the Asian World Cups, and Australia, obviously. So it's a really good thing to have other teams. You have 2 or 3 more spots for other teams. That's what Uzbekistan was able to take that spot. But yeah, I'm just so surprised, and again, I'm not trying to talk badly about any country, but like India, they have 1 billion people and they're not able to put 11 players. You know what I mean? That just tells you that it's not all about the population. It's about investment, about, the passion that be into the World Cup. But, that's a good thing about the extended World Cup is that you're going to have more opportunities for teams like China and India to qualify because you have like a few more spots. Because I don't know if you realize that. I've seen something online where the past 20 years, it was pretty much the same Asian teams that were going to the World Cup. Like you have Japan and what's called Japan, South Korea. So automatically that they were always qualifying. And you had Saudi Arabia coming, Iran and other teams qualifying. So we'll see what happens next for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we take a look at the European qualifiers?
Yep.
I've got the groups up here. So there are still obviously some more games to go. Actually,
There's 2 games left. Actually,
I believe we'll get to this in a minute. But I believe there's only one team from Europe that's confirmed their qualification, and spoiler alert, I'm very happy about it. So looking into, we'll just kind of go quickly through the groups. So Group A, very, very interesting. We've got Germany and Slovakia neck and neck on 9 points with 2 games remaining. Northern Ireland on 6, and Luxembourg, unfortunately, on 0. And I believe it's the top 2 from these that automatically qualify from these groups.
It's actually the
top one.
The best team that qualify automatically, and then I think it's because they have Europe has 16 spots,
Yes.
so I think there's 10 groups, or actually more than 10. JKL, there's 12 groups, so I guess
12 to the top from each of those 12 groups, and then the 4 best runners up.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah, I think they have a playoff too, I think, in Europe. So I think it's probably the best 8, I think. I'm going to assume. I don't know exactly. But I know for sure they have the top teams go. So 2 other top 12 will go. And then the rest are going to go in the playoffs.
Yeah. I know that Europe, I think, is the one continent that is not represented at those intercontinental playoffs. Yes. So the winners of each group, of each of the 12 groups, qualify automatically. Then the 12 runners up go into a playoff round for 4 extra places. So yeah. Anyway, so Germany and Slovakia top with 9 points in that group A. If we're looking at group B, the surprising group B really is who's in 4th place. We've got Switzerland at the top on 10. We have Kosovo right behind on 7. Slovenia, and then Sweden. Sweden have really struggled in World Cup qualifying. They only have 1 point from 4 games. They just fired their manager actually not too long ago.
Guess who they hired?
Yeah, they hired somebody who I did not see coming in Mr. Graham Potter, but he's coached in Sweden before. He speaks Swedish apparently quite fluently, so you know, he's got some history there with Swedish football. Maybe, I mean, time will tell. I don't know. It might make sense. It might be a disaster. Who knows? But
they're not going to qualify. I mean, they have to be among the top 2, the best second, and I see most teams already have more than 7 points.
Yeah.
So I think Sweden is out. I'm really surprised. Like, come on, 4 games with all the players they have, 4 games and you manage to get 1 point. Wow, I'm just
disappointing.
So
disappointing for them, because they're one that you would expect to qualify for the World Cup historically.
At least finish second of your group. You know.
Yeah,
that's just insane.
But looks like Switzerland are going to be fairly comfortable. Kosovo right behind them. Group C, we have Denmark and Scotland joint on 10 points. Scotland have been doing really well in qualifying, actually.
Wow.
This year so far. Greece and Belarus at this point are going to be out. They're both low enough points totals that they unfortunately aren't going to be making it. So it'll be between...
Wait. Sorry, I have to say something. Isn't Belarus like Russia's ally? And it's still...
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I don't want to get political. I'm just surprised that I hear, you know. But anyways, I don't want to go that route.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a kind of a battle between those top 2, Denmark and Scotland, for that place in Group C. By the way, the rest of I think the last 2 games in these qualifiers take place in November, during the November international break. So by November, we will know all of the teams that have qualified for the World Cup, and then December 5th, as I believe what you said, is when the draw is.
Yes, and then now we'll have a whole episode dedicated to the World Cup,
and we can
sure.
We can talk
so
about
very
that.
Exciting for that. Yeah.
Group D is France at the top with 10, then Ukraine, then Iceland and Azerbaijan in 4th. You'd expect France probably to see that out and finish top. Ukraine are in a pretty decent position for one of those second spots. That's Group D. Looking at Group E, it looks like pretty much gonna be Spain wrapping that up. Spain top on 12 points. They've won all 4 of their games so far. Turkey on second, it's second on 9 points. And then Georgia and Bulgaria low enough that they're probably, unfortunately, not going to make one of those second place spots. Group F, Portugal at the top with 10 points. Hungary in second with 5. Portugal, I think, does that mean that just even a draw for Portugal guarantees their qualification with that big of a points gap? with
Yeah,
2
I mean,
games
it's pretty
remaining.
much on the bag. It's pretty much in the bag, honestly.
But Hungary still in there with a chance of finishing in one of those second place spots. Republic of Ireland in 3rd and Armenia in 4th. Not really any surprises there. And now we move into the groups that have 5 teams. So some of these groups have 5 teams, some have 4 teams. I think it's partially based on who had
Rankings and
Nations League obligations previously, and there were some teams that were kind of in that top UEFA Nations League bracket, the League A as they call it. So they've been placed into a qualifying group with 4 teams, I guess. I'd have to look into that a bit more to figure out why that is. But anyway, the groups with 5 teams. So Group G, we have Netherlands on the top. They've played 6 and they won 5 of those 6 with 1 draw. They haven't lost. They're looking pretty good at the top of that group right now. Poland not too far behind them on 13 points. And then we have Finland, Lithuania, and Malta. You would expect Netherlands to probably see that one out at this point. Group H, Austria at the top on 15 points, followed by Bosnia and Herzegovina on 13. Then we have Romania, Cyprus, and San Marino. Unfortunately, have lost all 7 of their games so far. But it's looking like Austria. I mean, Bosnia and Herzegovina is still in with a chance of finishing in that top spot if there's 2 games to go. That one's going to be one to keep an eye on. That could be tight. Meanwhile, in Group I, we have Norway, Italy, Israel, Estonia, and Moldova. I think Norway beat Israel 6-1 in this most recent qualifiers, and they've won 6 out of 6. I mean, they've, in contrast to their neighbors, Sweden, they've been doing very, very well in this qualifying so far. You'd expect them to.
And then Italy, man, they might not make it again because Norway is pretty much qualified. I mean, it's possible technically that Italy, let's say Norway loses the next 2 games. That's exactly what actually has to happen. They have to either lose and draw or lose both games, and Italy have to win the last 2 games. And I don't see Norway, even dropping points, losing one of the games and drawing. I don't see that happen. But so it looks like Italy's gonna have to go to the playoffs yet again to be able to hope to qualify.
Well, and
which is insane.
The final game for both of those teams in that group is against each other. Italy versus Norway is that last match day qualifier for them. So to put that result, I mean, that could be the one that seals it. But again, if Norway just get a point, they're through. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Italy will have to do it through the playoffs again. Italy have had pretty rough time qualifying for the World Cup in the last decade or so. There might be yet another World Cup goes by that they're not in it, which would be crazy, really, when you think about how strong they've been. All right, Group J, Belgium. They're just 1 point ahead of North Macedonia. Then we have Wales, Kazakhstan, and Liechtenstein. I think you'd expect Belgium to see that one out. Belgium also have a game in hand. They've only played 6. North Macedonia, a point below them, have played 7.
Even Wales still can come through.
Wales,
one game in hand.
Wales still have a chance, I think, of finishing up there as well. I doubt that they'll qualify top of their group, but I think they've got a really good chance of making the playoffs. Group K, this is the group with the one confirmed qualified team from Europe, and that is England. England did seal their qualification with a win over Latvia in the most recent October international break. Won 6 out of 6, scored 18 goals, conceded 0 goals. For all the criticism that Thomas Tuchel's had about his style of play at the beginning of his tenure, it's been going quite well, and I don't think really we can complain about 6 wins and no goals conceded. The nice thing is too, the next international break, we could lose both our games. It didn't matter because we've won the group. So, that's I'm happy about that, obviously. The rest of that group: Albania, Serbia, Latvia, and Andorra. Albania and Serbia on 11 and 10 points. Could be in the running to finish. So both of those would be in the running to finish second, but whether they'll be one of the better second place teams, I guess, yet to see. And then finally, Group L is Croatia at the top, Czechia, Faroe Islands, Montenegro, and Gibraltar. Croatia, at the top with 16 points. They also have a game in hand on Czechia, who are 3 points behind them in second. So, shaping up to be interesting. I think there's still room for a few surprises in that European qualifiers. Let's take a look at South America.
Yeah,
I think
South America. Let me. Is it okay if I talk about it?
Yeah, of course.
CONMEBOL. So, World Cup qualifiers. So, CONMEBOL, they have a very small continent. They only have 10 countries, which is technically they have the most. If you look at the ratio, they have the most qualifiers. 6 out of 10 automatically get a qualification spot, and then the 7th go to the intercontinental qualification, which is insane. It's unprecedented. But in South America, they have really good squads there. So Argentina topped the group. No surprise. The Ecuador finished second. Moise Caicedo has something to do with it. Colombia finished third. Uruguay finished fourth, and the Great Brazil finished fifth, which is crazy. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you end up in the top 6 as long as you qualify. And if you look at the points, they actually have the same amount of points as the third place best team in that group. So, they qualify. They have Carlo Ancelotti now, and they have Estival. They have so many great players that came in through. I really fancy Brazil winning this World Cup. One of the top teams, obviously. Uruguay took the last automatic spot for that group. And then the next team was Bolivia, with 20 points. So Bolivia is going to the World Cup playoffs, intercontinental playoffs, which is going to determine 2 teams that will go to the World Cup. So that's very exciting. We'll see what happens there. But this is South America. Very simple. And
yeah. Take a look at the CONCACAF. Obviously,
yes, I haven't really been following that. Honestly.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know what's going on there.
Obviously, that's a little different for this World Cup because 3 of their 6 teams that will have places, so they get 6 spots. 3 of those are taken up by the hosts, Canada, United States, and Mexico. So there's basically the rest of the teams playing for those other 3 spots. Currently, it looks like the teams that are doing. Sorry, let me pull this. I'm just pulling this up here, and
I am so shocked right now with the teams that are going through. What the heck is going on? Suriname. Okay, I'm gonna go through that. Group A, we have Suriname, Panama, Guatemala, and El Salvador. So we have Suriname and Suriname right now is top of the group, but any of those teams can technically qualify, which is insane because even El Salvador with only 3 points, technically they can still qualify because the other team, the top team, only has 6 points. So there's 2 games left in that group. So we don't really know who's gonna go through. It's very exciting there. I'm really surprised to see Suriname at the top.
Yeah.
Then we have Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad, and Bermuda. So Jamaica looks like they're going to make a comeback to the World Cup. They have 9 points. So it's pretty much going to be between Curacao and Jamaica, honestly, because, so we'll see who's going to be, finishing top of that group. And then Group C, we have Honduras, Costa Rica, Haiti, and Nicaragua. So technically, Haiti, Costa Rica, and Honduras can make it to the World Cup. Costa Rica, I'm very surprised. They're struggling right now. I mean, they can still qualify, but Honduras have their upper hand. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't fit any of those teams. No offense to any of the citizens of those countries. I apologize. I just don't really see you guys at the World Cup. Except Costa Rica, that is very always at the World Cup. Beside that team, like everybody else is gonna be amazing. And this is what the World Cup is about. You're gonna see one of those teams. Imagine Suriname or Curacao qualifying, even Jamaica qualifying. It's gonna be amazing for them to represent. So I really like that extension. But Elliot, have you heard about how they're trying to make it to 64 teams? And I think this is like going too far now at this point.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that 64 teams is getting a bit too far ahead of themselves. I think, this is already going to be the first tournament with 48 teams expanded in this way. I think we're going to have to see how it goes first before we start throwing more teams in the mix. I mean, obviously, I think for a lot of people, it's their dream to see their team play in a World Cup. It's like your country reaching the top level to be able to play in a World Cup. So I think from that standpoint, to be able to allow more space for more teams would be good. But again, it's kind of the trade-off, and we've talked about it here on the podcast before, of the amount of games that players are playing and the strains and stress on their body, and seasons getting longer, and there's a balance, I think, that they have to figure out. But yeah, I think we got to see how this expanded 48 team World Cup goes next year, and then maybe talk about further expansion in the future. I mean, I think the first World Cup ever was 8 teams or 16 teams or something like that. So it's
very small.
Historically, it's grown.
I mean, I like the fact that I'm bringing with team, but at that point, I think 64 is gonna really dilute the quality of the World Cup. I mean, I hope nobody's gonna hate me, but I'm being really honest here. I'm gonna speak up my mind, but like nobody's really gonna want to watch. Uzbek is actually a good team. Let's see, like Niger from Africa against what team? Let's just pick another random Turkmenistan, for example. Like, I'm sorry, like this would be great for them, but at the end of the day, it's the World Cup. It's the best teams. I think like expanding to 48 teams is good, but I think after that you're gonna just have teams that really don't deserve to be there. They're just there because they were just extra spots, and you don't want that. As much as cruel as it is, you want the very best at the World Cup, and the reason why I like about the extension is that you have more opportunities for African teams. Like top African, look at all the Africans that qualify: Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, Ivory Coast, Senegal. Those are the teams that you always see at the World Cup. But before there was only 5 spots, so there was only like 4 really good teams that were left out every time. So now you have those. This is what the World Cup is about, right? And I think they already extended it. They have expanded. They have other teams like Suriname that can qualify, Jamaica that can qualify. I really think 48 teams is enough, honestly, to my point of view. I think 64 is gonna the quality of the World Cup is not gonna be the same at all. And I really hope that they stick to 48 teams until the end of times, because there's no reason to expand from that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we said, the qualifiers will be done by November, and then in December we will know the groups and kind of who's going to be playing who, and we can kind of talk through. We'll have kind of a World Cup preview episode specifically talking about that. Yeah, it's gonna come around very quickly.
Absolutely. Very interesting, man.
All right, we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Champions League.
We want to thank our sponsor, Bill's Treasury app. Bill's Treasury app is an application that allows people to track, manage, and pay the bills in one location. So simple to use, it's free to download. You're able to add your bills on the application. You get reminders when they are due, and then you just stay on top of them. It allows you to better manage your finances and improve your credit score significantly. It's available on the App Store and Google Play for free. You can download with a QR code that you see on your screen for free. So we want to thank Bill Treasury App for the sponsorship.
All right, we are back, and we're going to take a quick look at the Champions League here. So we've got PSG, Inter, and Arsenal are the three teams kind of at the top there with 3 wins out of 3, but not everybody's played 3 games yet. They've played one more game than a lot of the other teams, so a bit early to make any conclusions from the table at this point. So why don't we kind of take a look back through some of the matches that have happened already, and we can kind of pick out ones that we think have been particularly exciting or significant so far. First one I have here on my list is Juventus against Dortmund from match day 1. That finished 4-4. Dortmund came back from being behind a couple of times. They went 4-2 up, and then Juventus scored 2 goals in stoppage time to level it up. Good entertaining start to the tournament from both of those teams. Any other surprising ones from that match day 1? I think.
No, I mean, it was kind of Bayern Munich doing the job. Not much really. Obviously, for Chelsea losing to Bayern Munich, and then we had PSG, Barcelona that was good 2-1, and everybody else, will play against smaller teams like against Karabakh, Tottenham. Sorry, I shouldn't make fun of anybody, but I Tottenham, they drew against Bodo Glimt.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? Come on.
Yeah, Bodo Glimt.
I mean, I'm not surprised. They're gonna be Spursy, so.
Yeah, and that's the one that they had to go all the way up into the Arctic Circle to play in that game. Not necessarily an easy one. Yeah, PSG against Barcelona was probably the most intriguing one so far. I mean, that was kind of the final of last season that most people wanted to see. It was one that we were excited for. PSG had quite a lot of their kind of starters missing through injury, some of their significant starters missing through injury, but they still managed to get the win. That was a good game. Did you watch that one at all?
Just a few minutes of the game, but then you have to also remember that PSG didn't have most of the starters. Like Doué was injured, Dembélé was injured. There was a lot of other players that were injured, and they still managed to win. Pretty much, Barcelona had all the starters, and they still lost. So, that was a statement win. I think PSG is looking really good right now in the Champions League. They won today comfortably 7-2
against Leverkusen. Yeah,
Leverkusen. I know they switched coach, and they're not doing really good right now. But still, it's really incredible what PSG is doing.
Yeah,
and Barcelona also beat Olympiacos 6-1 today. So I know it's very early on in the season, and as Arsenal, we also have to be really looking at Arsenal. Arsenal has been looking really good. Like you have to give where credit is due, man. In the Premier League, they're top of the league with like 3 points in advance of the second or something like that. And then now in the Champions League, they are like beating everyone. I think that's the 3rd win in 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe so.
Yeah, they won all 3 of their games so far. Yeah.
So this is incredible. It's a team that is looking really good. Obviously, we have other games tomorrow. We have Real Madrid playing, City playing, and obviously the mighty Chelsea playing as well against Ajax tomorrow. So some more exciting games coming up, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's a little early still to, like we said, a little early to draw too many conclusions. But there's already been a lot of games with a lot of goals, and some teams kind of coming out as strong contenders already, like you said. Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how it shapes up. I think it's not happening until the next game week, but PSG against Bayern Munich, I think, will be a really good one. That one's on Tuesday, the 4th of November. That one, I think those are 2 of the strongest teams in Europe right now. That's going to be an interesting one. Also on that day, Liverpool against Real Madrid at Anfield will be another kind of exciting one to keep an eye on, even though Liverpool's struggling a little bit at the moment. We'll kind of talk about that in a bit. But those, I think, looking at the rest of the fixtures, kind of those are the two from a neutral perspective that I'm looking forward to. I think Chelsea Barcelona is going to be a good one as well. I'm excited for that game. Really don't know how that's going to go, but there's still a lot of really exciting games to come up. Arsenal against Bayern Munich too, coming up towards the end of the league phase. Real Madrid against Man City, like we've said before, those two teams always just seem to play against each other in the Champions League at this point. Yeah, still a lot of really exciting games. But yeah, PSG Bayern, man, I'm looking forward to that one. Chelsea Barcelona, I'm looking forward to that one. Any others that you can see that you're kind of excited for?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up. It's exciting. I love the new format of the Champions League. Honestly, I know last year we're like not very. We didn't think it would be a bad idea, but we're skeptical because we're used to a format that was gone since we were born, before even we were born, both of us. So we grew up watching the Champions League, but now I love that change, and that just tells you how changes is good if it's done the right way, and they did a really good job at expanding it. More games. Happy for us is better. More games in Champions League, and then on top of that, you're playing different teams every time, so it's really exciting. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not really much more to say about that. Europa League is underway as well. I think they've only had 2 match days in the Europa League as well. So I don't know. There's still early days in the European competitions, but lots to look forward to for sure. Right. Well, why don't we go around the leagues?
Yep.
You want to start first? With you go ahead.
Okay. So the mighty Premier League. I mean, I love the Premier League. So I have to brag here that I attended a Premier League games a few weeks ago. Chelsea Brighton. Another red card and Chelsea lost. So anyways, I'm still happy to be there. But yeah, the mighty Arsenal with no European trophy, but still like the top of the league right now with 19 points, followed by City with 16 points. And Liverpool lost 4 games in a row, and they lost 3 games in the Prem already. And we are in October. That is very worrisome. It's a team that usually doesn't lose that many games. That is surprising, honestly. What do you think about that? Like, do you see that coming? Because I did not.
I didn't see that coming at all. No, especially with kind of the investment that they made, and we both talked about it. How they've got a pretty stacked squad of players at this point, and a lot of talent in that team, but it's struggling to get the best out of everybody at the moment. I read something, I think last season, by the time Liverpool lost their 3rd game of the season, they were already champions and they'd already wrapped up the title. So worrying for them, especially with the amount of money that they've spent. I think they'd expect to be in a much better position than they are. I mean, they're still 4 points off of Arsenal, sitting in 3rd, only 8 games in, so there's still plenty of time. But we're also kind of getting to that point in the season where you really can't afford to keep dropping points. You got to pick up points, and it kind of feels like Arne Slot right now doesn't really quite know what his best team is. There's been a lot of changes, and kind of bringing in Alexander Isak. How do you fit him in when Ekitike had a really good start to the season? Florian Wirtz starting a lot of the games on the bench recently. I don't know. Something's just not quite right there. But on the flip side, things are very right at Arsenal right now, which is quite painful to say as a rival fan, to be honest. But they're looking in a pretty strong position. I think it's too early to really say, the league is theirs. They're going to win the title. I mean, they've been in this kind of a position before and bottled it. So, I'm not gonna get too far ahead and make any conclusions based on the first 8 games. But but positive signs for them early on. I think Man City have shaken off kind of issues that they had towards the end of, the second half of last season, and kind of back on track. Another surprise looking at the table, Bournemouth up in that top four currently. Didn't really see that coming. Again, it's early, but they're really doing very well at the moment.
Yeah, it's way too early, but still, like, only one loss. This is really impressive. And then the mighty Chelsea. I don't know how we're fifth, honestly, because I really don't think we deserve to even be there. We deserve to be 10th, honestly, because we've done so terribly. But we've only lost twice, which is just against games that we should have won, by the way. You should look at it, like, and I was at the game at Old Trafford, and then literally the game just started, and Sanchez just, like, I guess he didn't want to deal with the Manchester's rain or whatever. Like, he just, I don't know. Like, was that a kung fu kick or something? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, bit of a crazy moment. I mean, this is the question that's being asked right now. Chelsea, in the last 6 games in all competitions, have had 5 red cards if you include Enzo Maresca getting sent off as well.
Yeah, you have to include it. That counts.
So, the question is there a discipline problem right now at Chelsea?
This is a record. Can you believe that? 6 game, like, even like when Gusto had a red card that game, I was like, are you serious? I was just so shocked. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what? What is going on at this club?
Yeah.
Everybody has to have a red card. I started with Sanchez, then Chalobah, then João Pedro, like, the stupid red card against Benfica. And then after that, you also have Maresca against Liverpool, and now Gusto against Nottingham Forest. Come on, bro.
Yeah,
You really have to go for a tackle like that when you're 3 up. Like, you don't have to. That's just insane to me.
That's the thing. A lot of it's just needless. I mean, I do worry that it could cost us. I mean, it already cost us points against Man United and Brighton. It's worrying that there's kind of some issues there. I think Maresca needs to sort that out quick. Otherwise, we could be in trouble.
I really want to talk about, before we move on for the Premier League, I really want to talk about United.
Yeah.
They beat Liverpool past weekend. Like, wow. That's a new team I'm seeing right now. I didn't see that coming. I was expecting to get battered again. But again, Liverpool is not doing too well right now, but still, good credit to United. They are only 1 point behind Chelsea, even though they're 9th. So that's just really impressive. Do you think that that's when things turn around for them? They become this great club that they were in the past, or they're going to go back to shit, hopefully?
I think, well, I hope it's option 2. But I think, I don't know, whatever it is, Ruben Amorim seems to be finally getting something from that team. And I think it's just a little bit more fight and grit. It's maybe not the most exciting to watch, but they're digging in and they're doing what it needs to be done to pick up points. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just funny in football with how quick people are to say, oh, so and so's back, or so and so's fallen off, or whatever. I mean, I think at the end of the season, the table's not going to lie. So, but encouraging signs for United right now, definitely.
And I don't know if you have more things to talk about, Elliot. I wanted to mention just 2 more teams.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, they sacked. They went to 2 managers. We won in October, by the way. Added a new Chelsea Football Club or something, because damn, I don't think Chelsea has gotten this bad, right? Like 3 managers within 1 half of the season. I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow,
well,
this is insane.
This is, yeah. I mean, it was quite puzzling that Ange Postecoglou got the job in the first place. Completely different style of play. Never going to be a popular appointment with the fans. I mean, it's ended up being I think it was 39 days he was in the job.
Yeah.
It's the shortest Premier League managerial, tenure in history. And did not go well. So yeah, they're on to their third manager, and maybe by the next podcast we'll be talking about who their December manager is going to be.
Oh, that'd be funny if they sacked this manager again. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I want to talk about West Ham. West Ham is also really struggling. They fired the Potter, and they only have one win, one draw, six draws. Like that's 6 draws and six losses.
Mm.
Insane. They're near relegation battle already. I know it's still early, but wow, you know, I'm just so happy to be a Chelsea fan. Like Chelsea went through a lot of bad stuff, but at least we're not that bad. Like relegation, we never were even close to the relegation zone. Sure, we're like 12th, we ended 12th that season, but still, I'm
Yeah.
happy, But yeah, good luck to those teams. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think too, just one final thing on the Premier League.
Mhm.
Forest, West Ham, and Wolves sitting in that bottom three right now. They're not being helped by the fact that the promoted teams are actually good this year. Burnley, Leeds, and especially Sunderland. Sunderland up on 14 points in 7th currently. They've had a really, really good start to the season. And, maybe in the last couple of years, Forest and West Ham would have gotten away with being rubbish, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case this year. So I think we could see at the very least one of those promoted teams stay up. Also, it looks like my Brentford shout of Brentford will be the team that really struggles this season was a terrible, terrible bit of ball knowledge from me. They seem to be doing okay. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Brentford fans. I'm sure you were not happy with that take, and you were proven right. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations. Should we move on to the next league?
Yes. The next league is La Liga. I mean, La Liga is a good league. Obviously, let's not talk badly about them, but it's the same old story. Like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico. Villarreal is actually doing really good this season. 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. But also you have to realize that also doing really well in the Champions League. Villarreal. So Nicola Pepe is playing with them. So, I will support whoever's from Ivory Coast. Like I will support them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna see what happens. But again, no surprises there. The relegation zone, Real Sociedad, Oviedo, and Girona, which is very surprising because 2 seasons ago they were in the Champions League. Actually, was it last season they were like fighting against Real Madrid for the league title? Yeah, it was 2 seasons ago, right, Elliot?
It
and now
was,
they are
yeah.
bottom of the La Liga. I know there's only like 9 games played, but still, that is very worrying for them. Sevilla is finally waking up. They've been struggling the past couple seasons, but other than that, nothing really much to report from me. What about you, Elliot?
Yeah, I know. I think kind of the same. I mean, I think we're seeing signs of Real Madrid kind of taking on that identity as Xabi Alonso's team and showing some improvement, I think, from last year. But yeah, same old story, really. We have as we're recording this, the Clasico is on Sunday, Real Madrid against Barcelona. So I know that might tell us a little bit more about which way the season potentially could go. But I see it going the way of one of those two teams. They're just both very, very strong. They're both doing well in the Champions League too. Yeah, not too much to add, really.
Yeah. Okay, you ready to go to La Liga McDonald's?
Yes.
Exactly. All right, man. So Liga McDonald's is a lot more competitive this year. Actually, Marseille is doing really good. Like they're very scary. If you look at the players, they're really good players right now. They're doing really well in the Champions League. Very exciting. All I want is more competition in La Liga McDonald's because, come on, PSG is always winning. Like that's just boring. But anyways, PSG already lost 1 game and drew twice already out of 8 games, which is really unprecedented. So Marseille is top of the league. PSG is second, even though only by 1 point, 18 and 17 respectively. And Lyon, come on, Lyon. They fell down from last time we talked. They're 5 wins though still and 3 losses, 15 points. They're 5th right now. Monaco is kind of struggling. 4 wins, 2 draw, 2 losses. They are 7th with 14 points. And then the relegation zone is Angers and Metz. And
Yeah, and I
Paris
think
FC is pretty good too, like PSG's neighbors. But other than that, I mean, it's a really interesting league this season, more competitive for sure. I love
yeah,
it.
I would add too Strasbourg doing quite well. They're up in 3rd right now. there's a Chelsea connection there, so I kind of have been keeping an eye on them a little bit more.
Oh, Chilwell, right? Is Chilwell playing a lot of games?
Ben Chilwell has been playing for them. He started the game against. So they were one of the draws against PSG.
Yeah.
That game finished 3-3, I believe. And Chilwell started that game.
I'm really happy for him.
So, yeah, it's I mean, I think that's what you want to see. You like to see these leagues close the gap a little bit, and for it to become a little bit more competitive. But
honestly, I'm happy for Chilwell, because Chilwell he's always been, like those people when they don't play, they get complained, they like make everybody's problems. He's always been professional. It's been hard, he was like like first name on one of the first people on the team sheet, like we say. And then unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him for some reason, which I really honestly think that was kind of unfair to him, because he was coming back from injury. Sure, Cucurella is better for sure now, but still, like, he can't even be a sub, That's why I'm still confused. But again, Maresca had a different type of play. That's understandable. But at the end of the day, he was able to go to Strasbourg, and now he's playing, his best football again. And I hope that he comes back really strong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You want to move on to Bundesliga?
What's going on in Bundesliga, Elliot?
Well, I can tell you that Bayern Munich are top, and quite comfortably, 7 wins out of 7. They're smashing it at the moment. I mean, they're looking really, really good. Harry Kane is just scoring goals week in, week out, 2 or 3 goals.
Like 21 goals or something like that?
I think across all competitions, he's into 20-something goals already, and it's October, which is absolutely crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, he's an absolutely superb form at the moment. I think something that's interesting here, RB Leipzig, they are currently in second. They really had a tough season last season, but they've kind of turned things around a little bit, and seem to have got off to a good start. We kind of talked about Leverkusen a little bit. They've had some issues with disruption to the start of their season with Ten Hag, another very short managerial appointment, not lasting very long, and kind of going through another change in management. So they're not too far off. They're in fifth, only 2 points off of Leipzig, but they're still early days. Heidenheim and Mönchengladbach in the relegation zone. I can't honestly sit here and say I know enough about Bundesliga to know if that's expected or not. So sorry, Bundesliga fans.
Before we move on from the Bundesliga, I want to say that hats off to Vincent Kompany. Like he's not talked about. I think he's very underrated right now, because what he's done is incredible. From Burnley, a team that got relegated with him, and I have no idea what the Bayern Munich director saw in him, but they were right. I was really shocked when he got appointed, but wow, like he's beating everyone, 7 wins out of 7. The Champions League is also trashing everyone. Like Bayern Munich is back to the Bayern Munich that we grew up watching. Very consistent, that beats everyone. So you have to watch them in the Champions League, and honestly, I don't see anybody beating them in the Bundesliga. I know it's very early; it's only 7 games in, but wow, like unless something really drastic happens, they're only 5 points ahead. Look at the goal difference: 23 goals. That 22 goals ahead of Leipzig. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And Bayer Leverkusen is not too bad. They 2 of the losses. Actually, the losses they have is with Ten Hag, and now they have 4 wins, 2 draws. They're still in the Champions League race. So, yeah, I mean, other than Bayern Munich running away with the title, I think the Champions League race is going to be interesting in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, Dortmund as well, kind of not quite the force that they were, but they're still up there. Be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. You want to look at Serie A?
Yeah, Serie A, man. Serie A has been very how you call it, competitive, honestly, the past few years.
It's and it's very close right now. There's only 4 points separating Milan in first and Juventus in 7th. So it's very, very,
I love that.
It's very tight. So AC Milan currently at the top. 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Inter Milan in second, Napoli in third, Roma, Bologna, Como, managed by Cesc Fabregas, up there in sixth, having a good start to the season. And then, Juventus in seventh, Atalanta struggling a little bit more down there in eighth. We've talked about it before, but I think Serie A has really become a very, very entertaining, very exciting league in the last couple of years.
I need to. I know I keep saying that every podcast, but I really need to get onto it. Like I know I'm a super busy person, but still, like Serie A has been. I see the highlights, with Christian Pulisic with AC Milan. I see Napoli with KDB and McTominay. Like, who would have thought that McTominay, like that same McTominay for the league for United, is now the best player in Serie A?
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah,
but credit when it's due, and he deserves it.
No, I think it used to, Serie A used to be one of those leagues you kind of could predict who was going to be up at the top there in those top 2 or 3 places every year, but now it's a lot less predictable and it's a lot more fun. And there's a lot of talent there as well. That's I think that's going to be a fun title race to keep track of this season.
Absolutely. And then you want to talk about La Liga Portugal?
Yes, let's go to Liga Portugal.
Yeah. So Porto, 22 points, and Sporting, 19 points, and Benfica, 18 points. The big three in that league, leading the way. It's way too early to even predict who's going to win because anything can happen. And obviously, Jose Mourinho is a Benfica manager now. 18 points. Hopefully he does well. I always supported Chelsea, legends. And no matter what people want to say about Mourinho, he's a legend at our club. Literally, I visited Stamford Bridge. He's literally everywhere. Everybody talks about him there, how he's a legend and everything. And then obviously I got to see him. I attended Chelsea, Benfica, and I got to see him. He wasn't too happy, but it was a very interesting game for sure.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I've always supported him. I know he's moved around a lot. I heard that he made like 200 million by being sacked over his career.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He's been sacked a lot, and he's been sacked from some high-profile jobs. So the payout's probably pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's making his money. He's cool and chill. So, everywhere he goes, and except when he was in England, I wanted him to feel England. I mean, no offense, like I didn't want him to be better than Chelsea and especially United. But when he went to Turkey, I always wanted him. Now I hope that I wish him the best. Yeah. So
for sure. Porto, I think what's interesting too, Porto struggled a little bit last season, but they're sitting at the top of the table right now. Good start to their domestic season. I know this is one that we kind of keep an eye on throughout this kind of around the league segment in the podcast, but beyond that, I don't really take too much interest in the Liga Portugal other than when their teams play in the Champions League. But shaping up. I think all across Europe, it's shaping up to be really, really interesting. I think next we don't have time to talk about it today, but next time we go around the leagues, I think we should take a quick look at MLS because they're coming up to their playoff part of the season. They have some interesting developments there. I kind of keep track of that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we should include MLS, going forward. I've started in January probably, whenever the study season is like March. So maybe we should include MLS in our leagues because this is our, as much as we are focused on Europe, this is our league.
It's the league in the country that we live in. Yeah,
exactly. So and it's one of the best leagues in the world. It's top 10. People don't know that. It's better than a lot of European leagues like Greece.
I think it is getting a lot better. Yeah.
For sure.
It certainly is. But well, we're in a good spot with the season. Still early enough that it's too early to draw conclusions, but we're kind of starting to see tables taking shape and getting an idea of how teams are going to play. So, really looking forward to the upcoming the rest of the Champions League games this week. By the time this episode's out, you will know the results, and so hopefully, good results for your team that you follow. Yeah, lots more to come.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to us and watching with us wherever you listen to your podcast or stream.
Yes, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.